Hey, YouTube. This one's entitled The Myth of Cannabis Affecting Your Ability to Drive a Car. Now, as most of you know, I've used cannabis for 12 years, and or for the past 12 years. I used cannabis before that as well. And I have been pulled over by law enforcement officers at least a half a dozen times. Stoned immaculate. And you know how many times I've been arrested for being under the influence or reckless driving or anything like that? Zero times. Now, what I'm about to share with you is my personal experience. Drugs affect people differently. But for me, loss of my ability to coordinate is not affected. Just here in the last year, I've been pulled over by a highway patrol officer here in California. I was driving down the road. My medicine and pipe were laying in the passenger seat, and I was driving home, and it got really late, and I pulled over off the side of the road and took a nap, and I just woke up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to get home, so I just woke up and jumped back on the freeway. And within 5 minutes, I'm getting pulled over by this highway patrol officer. And like I said, right before I went to bed, I took some medicine, and it helped put me to sleep, and just like it always does. And so she pulled me over, and all that stuff's laying in the seat. And she's wanting to make a big deal out of it. Well, first, of course, I showed her my paperwork, and I told her not to search my car because here's my paperwork, I'm okay. And we sat there on the side of the road for like 3 minutes. Doing this eye-hand coordination test and answering all her silly questions and stuff. And gosh, I wasn't impaired. So I would think that if I was impaired and I wasn't able to operate a motor vehicle, I'm certain that highway patrol officer would have loved to have taken me into custody and charged me with a crime. But that was not the case. Just this and that happened like in January of this year. In March of this year, or April, when I was in Texas, I was pulled over by a Texas trooper, and he alleged that I was over the line. So I was driving erratically over the line. He pulls me over, runs my number, finds out that I have been previously arrested for assault with a deadly weapon, and then he starts asking me all these questions about what I got in my car. And I don't know why I'm going through my car, and I know that he's going to go through my car, so I better tell him what's going on with what I have in my possession. And not only that, but what's in my car, because I had my veteran friend that I was taking back to Louisiana with me, and his property was in my car, and my car property was in the car. And I told him, it's split in the middle, dude. There's my stuff over here. I have some pot. I have a freaking medical deal. I'm a Rastafarian. You cannot you cannot interfere with my religious practice. Well, he disagreed, and he arrested me for possession of cannabis, but and let my friend go. Whereas if I had obfuscated the problem, that would probably create problems for my friend, and probably my car would have been impounded, and I would have lost that. But I was forthright, and the cop was pretty. I mean, he was just doing his job, I guess. But if here again, after that, him talking to me and everything, even though he made lots of contrived stuff in his statement, it never occurred to him to give me a sobriety test. It never occurred to him, despite my erratic driving, to try to ascertain if I was impaired. Why was that? Probably because I wasn't. You know? And even if I was, like I said, I would have passed the test like I did for the California Highway Patrolman, and it really wouldn't have been a big deal. But what I'd like to share with you is an experience that I had when I got pulled over for the first time by a California Highway Patrolman, and that was dodging a sobriety checkpoint. I was young, dumb, and, took the first right before the sobriety checkpoint, and sure enough, they pulled me over. And, I had just smoked a huge, big old bong load of it. I had this older guy with me, and they were sweating to him, and he was actually kind of drunk at the time, I think, but I hadn't been drinking. I had just been smoking, and he was kind of drunk, and they were, interrogating him on the other side of the car, and I was over there scared and telling the cop, yeah, man, I just smoked pot and everything. And they did the same thing, man. They gave me the sobriety test, write the alphabet forwards, backwards, lot this line, when were you born, write your name backwards, all this weird fucking shit. And they didn't lock me up for impaired driving either, because I wasn't impaired, even though I told them I was breaking the law driving under the influence. So this fallacy that cannabis makes you unable to function is just, I don't think it's founded in any kind of fact or reality. Do some people smoke pot and fucking turn into worthless pieces of shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you know what? There's an equal amount of people that do the same goddamn thing, and they don't have pot consumption to use as an excuse. So, there are all kinds of values, systems out there, all kinds of different treatments and medications. And if you find a treatment, something that works for you, go for it, man. But don't force me to take some treatment that I necessarily don't want. And I especially don't want to force you to pay for it. That's why I grow my own medicine. I pride myself on that. I know where it comes from because I grow it myself. And that's really key, because I like to know where my food comes from and where everything that goes in my mouth comes from, or in my body. I like to know where it comes from and what it's going to do. And so please explore this for yourself. Most of these things, most of these horror stories are just horror stories. Like when I was growing up, they said that pot is going to make you grow breasts. I don't have no breasts, man. Look at that. My mom's got like these really nice tits. But I don't got no tits, dude. I've been smoking frickin' more than an ounce a month for the last 12 years. That's pretty chronic use. And these researchers came out 30 years ago, 25 years ago, saying that shit. And it's totally unfounded. They come out and say that it affects your fertility. I've had 2 kids. Say it makes you stupid. I don't know. I can still pass tests. So I'd just like them to provide some real proof that isn't biased to reach some kind of other ulterior motive, which is just to keep you away from the safe, effective medicine. What is that, man? If you love taking your pharmaceuticals and you love your doctor, God bless you. But please don't make me go to your doctor and take your medicine, because it may not work. That's all I'm saying. Thank you very much for your time. You have an awesome day.